So you're not going to always feel like working towards your goals. It's not going to happen, but it still needs to get done. And you are so hung up on feeling like it that it's stopping you. You will not always feel like it, but you have to do it. Do you always feel like going to work? But you know you have to do it in order to get that paycheck. So why can't we apply the same logic with other things in our life that we want to accomplish? And that's what this video is going to be about. If you're new to the channel, hello, my name is Jasmine. You can call me Coach Jazz. And one thing I've noticed about myself, just video-wise, I feel like conversation tends to flow a lot better for me when my hands are busy. So like sometimes when I'm making like my driving videos, doing my makeup or whatever. So I'm just doing something, latch hooking, just don't mind me. We're here for the conversation. So how do we continue to work towards our goals even if we don't feel like it? You're just going to do it. Like, it's really that simple. You're just going to do it because you know what the alternative is. All right. If you're new to the channel and you don't know, I lost 100 pounds and I lost it through regular eating less, exercising. Okay. And I started my weight loss journey. I was 340 pounds and I started that back in 2022. I think so. And I've kept it off for 3 years. And I didn't always feel like working out. I'm not gonna lie. I'm an inner fat girl at heart, okay? Even to this day, I don't always feel like working out, but I know what the alternative is. I can go back to that 340-pound body. I can go back to not liking the way I looked. I can go back to feeling insecure. But I've already done that, and I don't want to ever go back to doing that again, okay? And so that is the quote-unquote motivation. And I need you to look at things the same way. You already know how you feel today. You already know how you feel about yourself because you keep giving up on yourself. You already know how it feels to live paycheck to paycheck, right? You already know these things because you're doing it right now. So the only way out of it is to do something different. There's no magic pill. There's no quick fix. You're just going to have to get comfortable with the fact that you will not always feel like doing something, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't still have to get done. Ladies, you just got to do it. Like, you just have to decide, I don't like this life anymore, whatever it is, I'm going to fix it. Maybe for you, you want to go back to school. Okay, great. You're not always going to feel like studying and reading chapters and doing discussion posts. Like, get real. Let's just get real with ourselves for a second. You're not going to always feel like doing that. I know I didn't. I graduated back in 2013. It's been a minute. And I know for a fact when I was working on my degree, I didn't always feel like going to class. I didn't always feel like doing homework. I didn't always feel like being there. But it still had to get done because at the time I wanted a bachelor's degree. So I still did it. I don't always feel like showing up to record. To be honest, I didn't know what the hell I was going to talk about this morning. I'm not even going to lie to you. This is my morning off from TikTok Live. And on those days, I record long form YouTube videos. And sometimes like topics just flow to me. And then sometimes they don't. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about how I don't feel like doing this. Not because I don't love what I do, but because sometimes I'm human and I just don't feel like it. I'm just not motivated. I just don't have the bandwidth, right? But I still get it done. How? Because I know how I feel about myself when I don't stick to the promises that I made to myself. I know how I feel. I don't like it. It's not fun to be sitting there disappointed in yourself because you know that you told yourself you were going to record some content and then you didn't. Well, now you have to face yourself. I hate disappointing myself. I hate it. So I don't do it. And some of y'all, your fear of disappointing yourself stems from, well, what if you fail? But what's even more disappointing is wanting to do something for yourself and then you don't do it because you let fear take over. That's more disappointing. At least to me. And I'm pretty sure you could agree to that. Leave a comment and let me know. Like, yeah, Jazz, you're right. I actually hate disappointing myself. Okay, so then why continue to live like that? Why continue to live like that? Look, look, okay. I used to be just like you. Everything that we talk about on any of these videos are all things that I've experienced. So don't ever feel like I'm talking down on you or judging you. Okay, don't ever feel like that. But what I want you to know is you really can have whatever type of life you want for yourself. Like literally, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And I know that sounds cliche. And if someone were to tell me that 10 years ago, I would look at them like, girl, what the hell is you talking about? Like, shut the hell up. We're all dealt with the cards in our hand, right? But that's not true. That's not true. But the problem is you're waiting to feel like doing something. Now, I'm not going to lie. I've always been an ambitious person. Even before I was an entrepreneur. Even before I was a content creator. Even before I lost 100 pounds. I've always been very ambitious since the beginning of the time. And anyone who knows me personally, I'm pretty sure most people would, like, that'd be the first thing that they would say to describe me. Whenever I want something, I'm tunnel vision focused. I may not have been focused for long because I used to start, stop. But when I was in it, okay? So if I had an idea, and maybe that idea only lasted 2 weeks, best believe them 2 weeks, I was 1000% committed to that idea. I can't make this up, but I didn't always have the discipline to see it all the way through like I do now. But I didn't always feel like it. But I just understood the concept of you have two choices. You can either keep doing what you're doing, which you're obviously not happy with because you want to change, or you change. And when you need motivation, first of all, motivation doesn't even exist. That's a figment of our own imagination. But let's say you need motivation. Okay, well then the motivation should be how you feel right now. The motivation should be how you feel right now. And we've already established a few minutes ago, most of us hate feeling disappointed in ourselves. But the reason why you feel disappointed in yourself is because you didn't stick to the promise that you made to yourself because you didn't feel like it. Like, girl, what are you talking about? Like, what are you even talking about right now? Do you always feel like living paycheck to paycheck? No, you don't. No, you don't. So where's the business? Where is that? I'm looking for it. I checked my phone earlier trying to figure out where's this business this girl said she was going to start. I still ain't see you on my news feed. Exactly. So you have to decide, and that's going to require you to get out of your comfort zone. See, you've got so comfortable with just wishing, hoping, praying, and manifesting that now the act of actually doing the thing is going to take you out of that comfort zone, and you don't want to leave it. But the only way things are going to get better for you is if you leave it, because talking about it doesn't do shit. You watch my videos all the time, but until you actually execute it's something that I said, whether you watch it on a video or a short or a live, nothing's going to change. You can't just talk your problems away. You have to put in the necessary steps to execute them away. And that goes for anything, even therapy. Like I tell you guys to get in counseling. I say that all the time. Like, go to counseling, heal your traumas. Like, stop trying to do everything by yourself. And even in counseling, you still have to do the work outside of the session. All right, I want to talk to the women who are feeling the pull and immediately start arguing with themselves, because I already know the objections in your head. I don't know if I'll stick with it. I've tried things before. What if I fall off? What if this is just another phase? But let me say this to you very clearly. Glow Up Academy is not something that you try. It's something that you decide. That's why it's lifetime access. This isn't a 30-day challenge. It's not a be motivated for a month situation. It's the place you come to every time you're ready to rise again. And here's the part that people avoid. Listen, the reason you haven't changed yet isn't because you didn't have enough information. It's because you didn't have structure that you could return to when life knocks you off track. But with lifetime access, that means you don't start over from scratch every single time you struggle. You don't lose access when you need support the most. And you don't have to rush your transformation. You don't rely on willpower alone. You grow at the speed that you're willing to be honest with yourself. Now, I know some of you guys are thinking, but what if I don't use it enough? But be honest. You don't lack access, you lack self-trust. And Globe Academy isn't just here to pressure you. It's here to outlast your excuses, okay? You don't join because you're perfect. You join because you're willing to try. And you join because you're done living the same year on repeat. This is for the woman who knows, I'm not staying this version of myself forever. So no, this isn't for everyone. It's for the woman who wants a place to become, not perform. And if that's you, you already know. Make sure you join, all right? Now let's keep going. You don't just talk about it for an hour and then you get up and you just, all right, see you next week. Your traumas aren't going to fix themselves. So you have to get to a point where you understand and understand that no matter what it is you're trying to work towards in your life, you're going to have to work for it. It doesn't just fall into your lap. And I hate this is, and again, you know, most of the people that I interact with today are Black. Okay. And what I've noticed, at least with the Black people that I know, I can't speak for all Black people, but the few Black people that I know or know of or whatever, went to school with whatever, I notice that a lot of times we think that when the time is right, that's when God will give us what we're looking for. And in the meantime, we just have to wait on Him. But that's not true. And I'm not here to argue religious beliefs with you. I believe in God too, but I also believe that God helps those who help themselves. I really believe that. This is not a religious channel. If anything, I'm more spiritual than religious. But I just want to throw that out there for my spiritual girlies. Like, He already gave you the idea. So you're not even going to put one foot in front of the other and just make the account? Get on the treadmill? Cook some onions and some bell peppers and some mushrooms and throw them on a little flatbread pizza and eat under 500 calories? You're not willing to do any of that? None of it. None of it. Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about right now? Please make it make sense. It doesn't make sense. And by the way, that is like my go-to meal right now. If you guys did not know, I'm vegan, so I don't eat any animal products. And I've always been a pizza girly, always. But I'm on a little cut, trying to lose 20 more pounds, right? And so for lunch, what I'll do, I look forward to it every day. Okay, so I use a slice of lavash bread. It's a flatbread pizza bread. It's like 120 calories. I put some pizza sauce on it. I'll measure out 2 servings of my Daya mozzarella cheese is vegan, and then so no dairy. And then I'll saute bell peppers, mushrooms, onions. I'll do 75 grams of tempeh, which is kind of like a tofu, but I hate tofu. Tempeh is more firm, so good. So that's my protein source. I'll saute all that up, put it on the pizza, put the pizza in the oven for about 20 minutes. Oh, you guys. It's like my go-to meal, and it's under 500 calories. It's perfect. But the point I'm making is I just had to share. If I remember, I'll record it and attach it to another video. But the point I'm making is, ladies, at the end of the day, you have to put in the work. You're going to have to put in the work. It just is what it is. It's not just going to happen. Anything that you want. Maybe a goal of yours is to fix your credit. Okay, I've done that. So if you know anything about credit building, you know you're going to have to pay down your credit cards. But you have to actively do that. Your credit cards don't just pay down themselves. You have to actively do it. So what does that mean? You're going to have to save some money or stop going out, or maybe pick up a part-time job or some extra type of money source so that you can pay down those credit cards. You have to actively work towards that. Right? Yes. Otherwise, the problem's just going to sit there. So I don't know why we think that we don't have to one, work for stuff that we want, but then two, understand that you're not going to always feel like it. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, we are grown ass adults, and welcome to adulthood. And you do things that you don't feel like doing every day. So why is working towards your goal going to be any different? Like, what are we talking about? Like, please explain, because I am confused. What are we even talking about right now? Please break it down. So get that out of your head. You're not always going to feel like it. Something new I've been doing for the past 4 months now is I've been really locking into how many steps I get every single day. And when I first started, I've been in really good shape for the past 3 years now, since my weight loss journey. But, I still want to lose about 20, 30 more pounds. So, I've just been trying to really lock in on things that I can do that's not really going to take too much time or, completely throw off my schedule, but still, put in a little bit more effort to lose rather than maintain. And so one of the things I came up with, or I was watching some YouTube videos on, is, getting steps in. And I'm a weightlifting girl. Like, I love to weightlift. That's how I lost my weight, weightlifting. I love heavy lifting. So being in the gym. But I'm not too much of a cardio person, which is fine. You don't really need cardio. It's really calories in versus calories out. However you want to do that, that's up to you. But you don't need cardio to lose weight. You need weightlifting to lose weight. But anyways, so I really just try to figure out, like, what kind of things can I do, just to do a little bit more, just to really get this goal out of the way. And so I decided I'm gonna start taking my steps, start prioritizing getting steps in, right? And so when I first started doing it, I was playing around with when to do it, because, I'm always working on something for my business. So I was trying to figure out, should I do morning or evening, whatever. And I realized morning works a lot better for me. But because I have to be on TikTok live by a certain time to get more reach, I realized I was going to have to get these 10K steps in early in the morning so that I would still be able to get on live at whatever time. So that required me to get up earlier. And I'm not going to lie, when it came to getting up early, because I already get up early, but to get up even earlier than what I was doing, I was second guessing. Like, I don't know about all that. It's going to require me to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. But then I remembered the goal. The goal is to lose these last 20, 30 pounds. You either want it or you don't. If I already know my schedule is pretty locked in during the day and I don't have time to go on walks during the day, then what does that mean? That means I'm going to have to squeeze it in the morning. But is that impossible? No. And guess what? For the past 4 months, I've been squeezing it early in the morning, getting it done. Getting it done. So, look, you're not always going to feel like it. Like, you're really not. You think I always feel like getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning? No. I don't. But I have a goal. I know what I want. And so, even if I don't feel like doing it, I still get up and do it. Now, is every day perfect? No. Some days I may not get 10K steps in the morning. Some days I may only get 6, 7, right? But even small motion is better than no motion. And that's the other thing I want to touch on. A lot of times y'all think that, and again, I used to be really bad at this, especially my first couple of years of entrepreneurship. A lot of times you think that you have to do 10 hours worth of stuff. And so if you don't have 10 hours to dedicate, let's say, towards the business, then you feel like you can't start a business because you don't have 10 hours a day to commit to the business. But that's not true. You don't need 10 hours. I just said small momentum is better than no momentum. So maybe right now you do have an hour. Maybe right now you do have 30 minutes. Okay, so then start with that and then build on it. Start with that, see how that flows. Then you lock in and you decide, okay, actually I can squeeze out, instead of me scrolling on TikTok for 30 minutes, I'm going to take those 30 minutes to put towards my business. Okay, cool. So now I got an hour to work on my business. That's literally how I developed the discipline that I have today. Is I had to stop thinking that, okay, I have to record content for 5 hours, and if I don't, then I'm a failure at life. Like, I had to get out of that because it was toxic. It was toxic as hell. And it was actually doing me a disservice because now I'm like, well, I don't have 5 hours, so I guess my business is just going to fail. And so then I'm like self-sabotaging at that point because I'm believing that it's going to fail because I don't have 5 hours to commit to whatever the thing is. But what did we say? Small momentum is better than no momentum. As you keep doing it, you get better. And then you start figuring out where you can squeeze in more time, or what can you take out of your schedule because you realize it's not really doing anything for you. But you wouldn't even got to that if you didn't just start. So, you just got to stop making excuses. I'm just going to be real. You're just going to have to stop making excuses because, girl, girl. Like, there's so many content ideas I have. Like, so many things I want to do. But instead of me allowing myself to feel overwhelmed for all of these ideas that I want to do, I just sprinkle them in to my content. And sometimes I realize certain things don't work. So then I sprinkle them right back out. But I'm willing to try, and I'm willing to try even if I don't feel like it. I'm willing to show up even if the results I want didn't happen today. I've had plenty of lives on TikTok, and y'all might see them on YouTube because I'm on YouTube live at the same time. I've had plenty of lives where, and I'm on live for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours every time I be on live. And sometimes I'm on live 2 times a day. And I've had plenty of lives where I didn't make anything. Had people in the room. Had people commenting, saying, yes, how do I join, whatever. And then when it's time to put in that card information, they freeze. And I'm not going to lie. It sucks. It sucks because it would make me feel like, well, dang, like, maybe I'm just not doing a good job. But that's so black and white thinking. It's so all or nothing thinking. And I had to get out of that. And I had to realize you're not always going to get the results you want in the time frame in which you think that you should have them. But if you keep going, you will eventually get there. So you're going to have days where you don't feel like showing up because you're like, well, what's the point? I showed up yesterday and it didn't work. So what is the point of showing up today? But I'm telling you, you're not always going to feel like it. And cry a river, build a boat, and get over it. Because obviously what you're doing right now, you're not happy with because you're trying to figure out how to change it up. Okay. So the only way to change it up is to change it up. Boo. Let me stop playing with y'all. But seriously, you just gotta suck it up. Because waiting to feel like it, waiting to feel inspired, and that's why I say motivation is a figment of your imagination, because anyone can be motivated to do something for 10 minutes. Like, anybody can be motivated to want to do something for a week. But only a small percentage of people are actually going to stick with it. even when that motivation fades. Because they understand that if they just keep showing up, eventually they'll get the results that they want. And you haven't grasped that concept. Maybe you're grasping it now because we're talking about it, but if it's not clicking, I mean, that's I don't know how else to get it to click. But eventually they come. Eventually it comes. I remember when I first launched Glow Up Academy back in May of 2025, and it was a subscription, $39 a month, right? And some of you guys remember that offer. It was $39 a month. Everything was in it that's in it now. I mean, that was at the beginning of May, so things have been added, but like nothing, I didn't include anything different than what was already in it, right? And so, you know, for a while, I think it was $39. It was $39 a month for months, right? But anyways, I would get off of the live and I'd be like, you know, because sometimes people wouldn't even join. I'm like, dang, I'm on live for 2.5 hours, 3 hours. And I couldn't even, you know, I couldn't even inspire somebody to join. I couldn't even make $39. Like, I sucked, woo-de-woo. Just really like talking to myself like that. And this was this year, or 2025, when I started coaching. And, you know, I was getting really down on myself. And I would have some lives where I would have 6 people join. I'd have some lives where I'd have 1 person join, right? It was just always up in the air. It was very unpredictable. Very unpredictable. And my mentor was like, I think you decided to sell something very low ticket on live because you thought that more people would join if it was a less expensive price. But people don't join based off of how much something is. People join based off of the value that they perceive it as. And so I'm listening to her and I'm like, yeah, she has a point. And then I was looking at, well, most members, even at $39 a month, they don't stay, but for a couple of months. And so we came to the decision that I should make Glow Up Academy lifetime access and make it a mid-ticket offer. And I'm not gonna lie, when I decided that's what I was gonna do, like before I got on live, I was like, I don't know, I don't think this is gonna work. You know, just in my head with it, right? But I was like, no, we're gonna switch it up because what I'm doing is not working because people aren't staying. Switched it up. The very first live, so this was December 1st, the very first live that I did where I offered Glow Up Academy for lifetime access, I had 3 people join. 3 people join. I made $700 on that live. $700. $700 on one live because 3 people joined for the lifetime access as opposed to the $39 a month for the monthly subscription. And I realized I wouldn't have even had the confidence to promote something on TikTok Live for $249 if I hadn't been building the experience of getting on live for the whole 2025 year. That whole year, all last year, I was getting on TikTok Live, promoting Glow Up Academy, showing up. Even before that, I was doing like a mentorship. But anyways, just showing up every single day. Every single day. But I wasn't making $700, $800, $1,000 on a live. Not even close. But all those lives that I did, building my confidence, showing up, getting more consistent, knowing what to say, when to say it, how to answer people's questions, the flow, it was getting better just because I kept showing up even when I didn't feel like it. And then here I am a year later, because I started my coaching business in January 2025. Here we are a year later into my coaching business, and I am making more on live than when I started. How? because I kept showing up, even if I didn't feel like it. Building the confidence, building the consistency, learning my worth, knowing the value that I add to people, and then having the confidence to increase the price significantly. Same product, new price. How? Because even when I don't feel like showing up, I still show up. And I stopped feeling entitled to the results. And I understood and understood that if you keep going, eventually you get the results that you want. But keeping going is not feeling like it is not required. You still have to keep going. You still have to keep pushing. You don't have a choice. Because doing what you're doing is obviously not satisfying you. So what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? This is what I'm talking about. Like, I could have gave up. That's why 2025 was the most monumental year for me. Like, literally. Literally. It's the year I made the least being an entrepreneur. But it's the most progress I've made in my entire life because I found myself. I found myself. Like, I really found myself. Sometimes, not sometimes, scratch that. All the time. All the time. You are going to have to get out of that comfort zone that you're in. Because there's no growth there at all. Do you know how scary it was for me to, first of all, it was scary for me to leave my 9 to 5. But I did it because I had been there for 6 years. I was fed up. I said, to hell with all y'all, right? I just left that shit. I was done. But anyways, different time. I was living off a stimulus for a little while, whatever. But anyways, so that within itself was scary. But I started to trust my decision-making process because of that. Because I did that. I got out of that, started making money online. So I'm like, okay, I know how to make a good decision. Well, 2024, I was just very unhappy with the type of products I was selling. It just wasn't fulfilling. You know, when it started to feel like a job. Let's put it like that. It started to feel like a 9 to 5 that I absolutely hated. And it took away the fun of entrepreneurship for me, right? And so I'm big on money flows where energy goes. I've said that on live. So if you caught my live, you know what I'm talking about. A lot of times you have two ideas. And so you're trying to keep both alive. But in the midst of trying to keep both things alive, nothing grows because your energy is spread too thin. You're giving 50% here and 50% there. So everything's just staying stagnant. It's not until you let go of one idea or one business, whatever, where the other one takes off. Because now instead of you only putting in 50% because you were trying to hold up the other thing, you're putting in 100%. So it's just going to take off because now the energy's all on this one thing. Well, in the midst of me doing that from 2024 to 2025, my income dropped a lot. I'm not going to lie, I was stressed. I was like, dang, I should just go back to what I was doing, you know. But I was like, no. Because I know that if I just keep going, if I just keep showing up, even when I don't feel like it, eventually it will work. You're not going to have a timeline. You don't know. God don't tell you when He gonna give it to you, but just know it's coming. Just keep going. Just keep going. Just keep going. Eventually it's coming. Right? And that's why I said 2025 was a great year for me. But I'm not even talking about financially. I'm just talking about just becoming the version of myself that I always wanted to become. You know, And then the icing on the cake, finding my coaching business and finding what it is that I really love to do every day. I've never experienced that before. And because I've never had that feeling before, I just made sure to hold on to it. And that included showing up every day, just keep pushing. And here we are a year later, and like I'm doing really freaking good. All because I just kept going. Even when I didn't feel like showing up. Even when I was ready to give up, right? But, there's no growth in that comfort zone. That comfort zone is a trap, y'all. And when you see, it's one thing to hear somebody say it, but when you really start to believe that, like within your soul, like I know when I start feeling comfortable, we gotta take it up a notch, because that means there's growth there. And so when you really understand that, you're always trying to figure out how to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable with what you're working towards, because when you do that, when you pivot, even if it's just a little bit, still in the same direction, but we're just switching something up a little bit, adding something different, whatever, it's going to grow. You know that. So you don't like to linger in the comfort zone for too long. You like to take it up a notch. Okay, what's next? What are we going to do a little bit different to 2x this, right? We don't just stay stagnant, because you know that there's growth on the other side of whatever it is you're not doing. So, ladies, just make sure you're not always going to feel like it. Okay, I'm just give it to you like that. You're not always going to feel like it. Okay, wooty woot. Now get over it and go ahead and get it done. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Make sure y'all subscribe if you haven't already. And here is the Glow Up series. All right, you guys. Hello. I am walking, getting my 20K steps in. Listen, earlier in another video, I'm not sure which one, we talked about bare minimum non-negotiables, okay? One of my non-negotiables for me in my life, I have to get active every single day. Whether it's walking, lifting, doing yoga, whatever. I have to be active. I have to get bare minimum 10K steps. It's not up for discussion, right? And because I have my bare minimums, my non-negotiables, it is so much easier for me to stay tuned in and locked in to what I have going on in my life. Okay, becoming the version of myself who has discipline, who follows through. All right, so I want you guys to be listing out your non-negotiables, and it has to be that. That's the standard for yourself. Start putting standards on your life. Okay, so I want to share that with you. I know I'm a lot of breath because I'm power walking. It's cold. All right, bye, you guys. I found Jasmine on a TikTok live one night, and I was already in the online space, but I wasn't a total beginner. But her confidence and her grounded energy really stood out to me. So that's why I joined her Glow Up Academy. And since then, my TikTok has grown from 2,000 to over 21,000 followers. I have built an email list of nearly 2,000 people, and I've made over $1,000. And her guidance just helped me stop overthinking and focus clearly. And so now I just take action faster and I trust myself more. So that was the main reason I really wanted to join her academy, because she just has this energy that I felt was missing a little bit in me. So whether you're new or you're experienced online, I highly recommend Jasmine's Glow Up Academy. It's packed with a lot of value and you will learn so much.